All right, we're 5 minutes in. We haven't started the podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Knobheads podcast. This is your host, David Ekunno, and you probably know. You see, the weather outside is really hot, and it's actually after 8 p.m. So if I walk outside, I might just sweat my balls off, and that's a problem because, well, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. So we're just gonna take it to the weather. What's the weather looking like out there, Charlie?
It's hot!
Thank you, Charlie. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for tuning in to the Knobheads podcast, and you guys be safe. Wear your masks, and I don't know. They give me shit to read. Goodbye.
Ready?
Yeah.
What's going on, world? This is another episode of the Knobheads. We are your hosts, Charlie Miller and
David Ekunno.
And today we come at you live and direct. As you can see, we're doing something a little different. We thought we'd give you some feng shui.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that feng shui.
That feng shui. A little ambiance, if you will. Kind of set the mood for great conversation and just enlightening of your minds.
I feel enlightened already. We haven't even started, but I feel enlightened. So, I think it worked. I feel comfortable too. But yeah, this is episode something. The light just went out. Fine. We're going to keep it rolling though, because that's the kind of guys we are, man.
Because that's what we do.
We're
we just keep it
non-stop,
rolling.
unstoppable. You seen that movie, Unstoppable?
I haven't.
Denzel Washington. It was a pretty good movie. Yeah, so this is episode something or other, and it's also going to be the best episode we've ever done. So here we
the
go.
Fucking best.
Exactly.
The best.
Oh man, I wish
we the best, man. Who? We, nigga.
Yeah, I wish the light was still on low key. Let's jump straight into it then. Shit, let's talk about what's going on right now in the world, which is mostly BLM.
Everything.
I mean, on for sure on the top deck is going to be BLM right now.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
COVID's kind of taken a back seat. We're wearing our masks. I don't want to get in trouble, and it just makes sense. Don't want to catch that COVID. I know I'm clearing my throat a lot. I don't have COVID. I haven't been tested, but I don't think I have COVID.
That's what a COVID person sounds like. They was.
We're gonna skip that, and but I want to be precautious, and I don't want to be irresponsible. Especially, I don't want you to, and I know that people that you know are very precautious, and I don't want to break that.
All right.
But yeah, right now we just hit a tipping point with the racial inequality that we're seeing in America. To paint a small picture, we've just had, we've had a lot of moments leading up to this moment, and this with COVID as well. I think it's created a situation where people are listening more to the news, and we don't have any outlets to kind of just sweep things under the carpet. So when the situations happen with, let's say, Ahmaud Arbery, Christian Cooper, they kind of they were really quintessential, I think, quintessential examples of what Black Americans are facing in America. And then you have the tipping point with George Floyd, where this cop, really, that moment was, the imagery of it was just so egregious to watch a cop with his knee on the neck of George Floyd for longer than anyone needs to be on anybody. And then also his mentality with the hands in the pockets just shows this kind of nonchalance, this I don't give a fuck, and he saw the cameras on him, and it just kind of exposed, I guess, a lot of how horrible the situation has got in America with these cops, and how much they've been protected in the past and been allowed to do this over and over again.
And still, to a high degree, protected. I mean, even his coworkers or whatever, fellow cops or whatever, just sat there and also watched it happen.
Yeah, and what's more, you get another angle and you see that they're on him as well. So this guy is completely fucking detained. He's no threat to anybody, and he's screaming out what he's screaming out. He can't breathe, and then he's screaming for his mother, and yeah. So that whole moment just really, I think, encompassed how tragic the situation has become from the police towards citizens, especially black people.
This is just bad deja vu, because the whole reason why the I can't breathe thing is even like hitting home more is because we've seen this situation before with Eric Garner.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely,
literally the same words, like
yes.
I can't breathe,
yeah,
and stuff. Like it's fucking crazy. Like, you know, you still have a lot of these cops who have wrongfully taken people's lives, like still out there, like Breonna Taylor, like Rayshard Brooks, like it's.
Good news is, I mean, the guy was charged. The guy that did the shot Rayshard Brooks,
just got.
Yeah, I mean, and there's also a massive case to be made that maybe it's just because of the public notice that these things are starting to happen.
Exactly. This stuff wouldn't have even hit the bar. It wouldn't even started happening like that if it wasn't for all of this public attention coming to it, which is the problem. The fact that these officers aren't held accountable until the world starts to hold them accountable. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's totally bogus and fucked up. And I'm glad that now they're starting to like catch on to the whole reason and the purpose behind Black Lives Matter. Because I think in the past people wasn't taking it as serious due to a number of reasons.
Oh, for sure.
Like, for one, like, I don't think people felt like, I don't know why, but I don't think people felt like they had enough proof, like, of showing, like, black people being mistreated and the police brutality that's, you know, associated with them.
Yeah.
I think it's that. I think another reason is also because during this age now, like the past couple of years, it's kind of like a no tolerance for just bullshit, period, with the whole cancel culture. I like to put that up in there. Like, why can't the fucking police be canceled too if they doing fucked up shit? If people can get canceled for saying fucked up shit just about the gay community, this, that, and the other, of course, your ass can get canceled too if you out here repeatedly killing the whole race on camera, off camera, this, that, and the other, treating them bad, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Like I said, the stuff is ridiculous. You have a whole ass people who, like, over the years have just got done so wrong. Like Philando Castile, like just all these people.
There's too many names.
It's really too many names. I seen somebody make a collage of police victims, like a big ass collage.
So the protests that have been sparked have kind of met some objectives. A couple of the keywords that we've been hearing over and over again on social media are defund the police, abolish the police. Have you you've heard those words?
Yeah.
Have you come across like what they actually mean? I feel like we're at a place. Well, I feel like with those words or with certain terms, when we are protesting, we have these things that are thrown out because they're kind of powerful and they say something, but I'm not sure that we know what that means. What defund the police and abolish the police actually looks like. Do you know?
I agree. I think because people's lack of knowledge of the terminology, I think they mean it. Because I've come across some people who think it means like do away with the police and whatnot. And it's like,
so abolish does
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think people think defund the police means do away and XYZ. But defund the police just basically means allocate the money for that big ass budget towards things that's basically more proactive, more better inside the community. Like that will hopefully like not need them to have such a big budget. Maybe you wouldn't need such a big budget for police if it went towards like the community and recreations and things like that and stuff. So like people won't have to be in the streets, this, that, and the other, like.
Yeah. How do you see that playing out? Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's an excellent idea. I just seen the other day that, like, Houston's police budget, the city's police budget, is the same police budget that the country of Uganda has.
Houston's a big city.
I get that, and Uganda is a big ass country.
Do we know the population? Did you check that?
No, I didn't check the population. But
okay, the population of Houston's about 30 million.
Yeah.
Uganda's population is about 42 million. So that's an extra 10 million. So that might be why.
I still
am I thinking Houston or Texas?
You gotta be thinking Texas because Houston don't have 30 million people in there.
Yeah, Houston's 2 million. I'm tripping. Houston's 2 million. Yeah. Texas is 30 million. But Texas is a big fucking place, dude. Make it smaller.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, why do we have such an extreme, large, like, police budget? Like,
yeah.
And then here's the even worst part.
Also,
this extreme big police budget for bad policing.
Can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
In Africa, the police is not, like, helpful. They're not very good. I hear horrible stories about Nigerian police. Like, if you go through some shit, you don't call anyone. There's no one to call. If you call the police, who knows when they'll come? They might come tomorrow. So, I'll add that in just because I think that needs to be said. But yeah, that's what this situation is showing right now. Poor policing.
But even if that is the case, even if what you say is true, like I said, like, if that is your budget, because, like, the other cities bigger than us and stuff, like LA, Chicago, New York, things like that, like, they have billions dollars worth of a police budget. And
is that so? That's more than, I'm guessing, more than Houston, because Chicago's going through some things.
Oh yeah, like, the biggest police budget out there, I think, is NYPD. I think they got like $6 billion.
They have the biggest population.
Right. That's what I said. I mean, the cities that are bigger than us, but you have places, like I said, like Chicago.
Yeah.
They're going through stuff, though, like you said.
There's a lot of crime.
Back to the task. Back to the thing we was talking about here. Yes, defund the police. Allocate the money toward other resources that actually help bring the crime rate down, actually help the community and whatnot. These police don't know how to fucking act and do their job properly. Don't have the right fucking proper training.
Yeah.
Like,
so here's my devil's advocate argument. Since you just said they don't have the right.
Before you say your devil's advocate,
hit me.
Like I said, the proper fucking training. Like, there are so many jobs out there that require more training than it takes to be a police officer. That is fucking ridiculous. I mean, we live in a society where, and I seen my homegirl post this, and I was like, this is true. We live in a society where young people, or people in general, but definitely black people, whatever, are supposed to be more calm. Untrained black people, whatever, are supposed to be more calm in a fucking escalated situation than a trained police officer. And look at all these situations that happen.
Yeah.
Look at all these. These are trained officers, and yet how many of them always go to that motherfucking same thing, to where it's like, I was nervous, I thought he was going to do this, What the fuck is your training for? What the fuck is your training for? This is literally your job. This is literally your job. That fucking 6 months of training, whatever fuck bullshit you went through, that's literally your job. And you saying that it's the other person's fault on how they acted, when you the one that literally trained for this. They didn't know this situation could come up in their life. You trained for these situations.
Yeah, for sure.
And even then, the other people are still more calm, or still acting more rational than these police officers. It's fucking ridiculous, bro.
Like, they're the rookies, and they're supposed to, in the police officer stories, they're supposed to take responsibility for the reason everything escalated when you have the gun and you're the professional. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But to your point, if that's the case, and we're talking about defunding, like reallocating funds from the police, do you think that might be in a way counterproductive because that means less training, possibly, or maybe not less training, but no more training? Because that might just mean less need for personnel, and then less responsibility, of course, because they're not going to be answering calls about, let's say, mental health concerns, or different things that other local community groups can handle instead. But that doesn't mean that we're going to offer them any more training, and that does mean, well, the police, even if they're defunded and you make the responsibilities smaller, surely their responsibilities are going to cover violent situations, or when citizens are afraid of something and they're going to be calling the police, not the social worker,
right?
So these situations where we're seeing black men being unfairly gunned down might not necessarily be remedied because the police are still going to be used for those cases. So do you think it might be counterproductive to take money away from the police, because that means for sure they're not going to get better training, and they're still going to walk into these situations and make some of these same mistakes because they're not trained well enough?
No, I just think it's all about, number one, also the flow of money. Like I said, allocate their money toward other things. That includes inside the police department, what all you do with the money that they have left or whatever. Like I said, why do you spend so much training upon you need to make sure that you apprehend this, apprehend that, da-da-da-da, and all that. Or not apprehend, but make sure, you shoot this, da-da-da-da, XYZ, you bust in like that, da-da-da-da. All that stuff is important for extreme situations, but how about we focus upon the reality that most of your day-to-day activities aren't going to be extreme situations to where you're entering gunfights.
Yeah.
So how about we take some of those classes or whatever and we go towards, how do we de-escalate situations in a calmer way without pulling out a taser, without pulling out a gun, da-da-da-da. That should be...
I'm 100% with that.
That should be the last fucking thing that you skip to. I've seen countless videos of officers who just pull out a gun because they're nervous, or pull out a gun because they think
dude,
something is about to happen and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking crazy. It's nobody gave you any reason for you to pull that out. Just because it's almost like they have an ego trip or power trip, so then they get nervous. Either they get nervous or they want to feel you forgot who's in control here, who got the power and stuff. And it's what the fuck is wrong with you? Did you get bullied as a little kid?
Yeah, I don't know what they're I've seen some of those videos. I saw a video of some woman pulling a gun on some Hispanic dude. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I seen that, and I seen that video, and she fucking said it. The dude was calm and everything. He was in his car. She asked him, she was like, "You got any firearms inside the car?" He was like, "Yes, I have a legal registered firearm in my trunk. It's mine." Da da da.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh, okay. Hold on, real quick." Went to go get her partner, and then she told her partner, she was like, could you do the search for the firearm? Because I'm a little nervous. I don't know. This, that, and the other. Yeah. The partner came to the car, asked the dude calmly. He was like, "Hey, how you doing, man? You mind if you step out the car so I can search your vehicle for the firearm and stuff?"
Yeah.
He was like,
I liked how he was handling it. He was like, "Okay, we're just going to do this a safe way. Take off your seatbelt for me." And then they were having a conversation back and forth. He did get slightly heated in the conversation, but it was just a conversation. He's not reaching for nothing, you know what I mean? He's just saying, "Hey man, what was he saying?" He was saying
he was basically saying it's right. He was like, "You don't got no warrant." He was like, "I'm not doing anything wrong." Yeah. He was like, "If I got a ticket, then give me my ticket and I'll be on my way."
He was asking for something. I forget what he was asking for, but he was asking for some shit.
He was asking for his supervising officer.
Yeah. And then old fucking chick over here.
And then the dude didn't do nothing. She was just
had a hankering, man.
Exactly. He was like, "No, I want to speak to your supervising officer. I want to speak to your supervising officer." This, that, and other. He was like, "Yo, what y'all doing is wrong. I'm not going for it. Let me speak to your supervising officer." Chick next to her partner cop or whatever, all of a sudden "Oh, you want to play these type of games?"
Right, she's ready, man. She's trying to go.
Exactly. And it's what is wrong with you?
Right. That's the opposite of de-escalating the fucking situation, man. What are you doing? But yeah, so I'm with you in terms of we need in a perfect world, running police departments, dude, they just need to do drills. They need to have situations where, there's actors or whatever, or maybe they can play the actors and they're practicing how to de-escalate a situation by pissing the least amount of people off, basically. And then practice where the, I was going to say customer, what do you fucking call them? I guess civilian becomes unruly. And practice when they're giving you some backsass, and practice when you're not sure whether they're armed or not. They need to know how to do that so they're not so twisted and tied into their emotions when they're on the field, and they don't get too nervous because they've been through it before. Fuck, we do this shit in Hollister. We do this shit in retail for your rewards program. You practice with each other about how you're going to introduce the rewards program and how you would say it if they're with it and if they're not fucking with it. And you would think that police officers in life or death situations should have some of that training, but I guess it seems like they don't have enough of it.
The police are a big ass gang to me. That's just my personal opinion. The police are a big ass gang. I mean,
that's one way to see it.
That's the way I see it. They're a big ass gang, and I personally don't believe in the whole thing as a good cop. I don't believe in good cops. I don't believe in good cops. Don't get me wrong though. I believe there are good people who are cops, but the job itself is bad. Its origins is bad. This, that, and the other. Like, when I say the job itself is bad, okay, I mean from its origin, it's been selfish and self-centered to its core of self-serving. Like, I know you've heard that term, a system will protect who it's built to protect.
Yeah.
The police were not built to, protect minorities. From its origin, even to this day, how they operate.
Yeah, because...
Even to this day, I mean, at this, there are whole ass, countless, documented statements from police officers and ex-police officers who said, yes, my captain, yes, my lieutenant, yes, has told me go to this neighborhood and look for this amount of people to give. Hold on.
And we're back. We just took a short break for the sponsors, and I guess we're back in the game.
That was our sponsors, Bevel. No,
I used Blue Chew. It wasn't like magic. It was just consistency for me. So, but yeah, that was Blue Chew. That was my Blue Chew experience.
Most randomest transition from one topic to the other ever.
Oh, I thought this was an ad. Are we not in an ad? Imagine if I edit. So we were talking about defunding the police and abolishment, and you were saying that it's a good idea to defund, and we agreed that it's a good idea to drill these policemen in training,
proper training of certain situations, yes.
For sure, so they know how to de-escalate a lot better, and we can lead to less unnecessary deaths. But you also saying,
and I was also saying, about how there are countless documented statements from police officers and ex-police officers who have quit their job because they didn't agree with what their supervisors told them to do, as far as you need to go to this specific neighborhood and give out this many tickets. You need to arrest quotas. This many people. Yeah, exactly. It's but why this neighborhood? Why you want me to make sure it's 10 black people? Why you want me to make sure it's this, that, they have been told that shit. It's, I mean...
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it is. It is a problem. To me, there's no such thing as a good cop. I don't... there's good people who happen to be cops and stuff. I know some and whatnot. But as far as their job, no, I don't fuck with their job. I personally think they just need to reform the whole, law enforcement, period. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I know that's easier said than done.
For sure.
But I just personally think...
But if that's what needs to be done...
Exactly. If that's what needs to be done to make sure that, not only innocent black lives are, spared, but also just in general, innocent people who just go through this stupid ass cycle of police brutality and just this like law system period is just so unfair to people and stuff. If that's what needs to happen, then that's what needs to happen.
I have some really complex, unfully formed views. Maybe you can help me with this conversation about what we need to do about the police. Now, here's my first thing that I'm... Statistically, I can't back this up. I'm sure if I Googled it, we can find statistics that might make sense towards it. But I believe that net overall, that the police do a good thing. Right? Statistically, we know just their presence decreases criminality. It decreases crime. It decreases petty thievery. It decreases speeding. Just their presence. Just the presence of an empty police vehicle on the road will make people stop speeding on the motorway. I think, obviously... Well, just poke myself in the eye and that's fine. We'll move on. Obviously, what the police are doing in America, COVID. Especially... you said COVID? Yep. Fucking ASMR. That's gross. What the police are doing in America is... Like, it's so fucking fucked up because the police probably at large, if we could compare statistically, have a positive effect in reducing criminality. It's hard to see it now. It's just like the vaccine situation. Things like polio have gone, measles have gone. So these small problems that vaccines have, there's a whole anti-vax movement about it because the light shines on that. Now, when we're talking about the police, the problem isn't small. It's quite big and it's disgusting. Like, racism is fucking disgusting, right? It's not just this, well, you know, sometimes there's an allergic reaction. You're taking humans out of this world, and the fucking, what is it called? The denominator that we seem to see a lot of the time is because there seems to be a pattern of racism, and it's these people that are black or of different minorities, and the police are being unfair to them. And then that escalates into death, which is just it's unforgivable, right? But that said, I think that when we're making these movements to think about defunding the police and whatnot, or what we're going to do about the police, we need to consider the fact that there is likely a very positive effect that the police have, and that these people, I'm not going to say bad apples, but the corruption in the police is maybe something we need to think about trying to phase out and trying to maintain good punishment towards, so that we can remove that side of it and keep the good side, and maybe even bigify. I'm going to say bigify because I can't think of words right now. It's fine. We're going to increase the positive effects of the police instead. Doing things like drills, de-escalate, just better training in fucking general. And then also screening. We need to make sure that fucktards aren't in the police department. We need to make sure that people who are trigger happy aren't in the goddamn police department. We need to make sure people that are racist aren't in the police department. It's kind of obvious, but we need to actually figure out how to do screening and consistent screening, not just today, but like a month, like every couple of months. We need to make sure that these people's psychology are still in fucking order, because they're gonna get into situations with civilians because their job is kind of fucked up sometimes, and we need to make sure that their mental health is still in the right place to serve and protect. And that's kind of where my thinking about how to fix this situation is coming from.
I mean, I feel you on that, but at the same time, like I said, we're dealing with systematic racism. So it goes beyond just a simple police force. Like,
yes.
You know, so I mean, okay, so a lot of the KKK from way back then, even now to this day, have a strong hold up in, like, the police force. Like, have a strong hold in the police force. Like, a lot of them are either in the police or some type of judge or some type of, like, things of that matter and whatnot. So,
right.
When you're talking about doing all these things, which is why I said they just need to reform the police. To me, that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about these things, it's like, yeah, okay, I can see your point. I see where you're coming from, and that may help a little bit. But like I said, the system itself is like rigged to go against minorities, not just the police. Like, it reaches beyond the police. So
is it okay? So I know there's systematic racism is for sure what's going on in America, but the way that systematic racism is working in America, I don't know if it's. I don't think it's the actual, like, it's not the laws. You know what I mean? You can't find a racism in the laws, but you're finding racism.
Well, you don't find a blatant thing in the law, but it's there
in the laws.
Yes, you don't find it blatantly in there, but it's there. Like,
have you seen examples of this?
Like I said, like it's almost like, okay, if you have. Take for instance land. Take for instance like land and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like, if you have something called like redlining. I don't know if you heard of redlining.
I know about redlining.
Okay, so like that is like not saying in the laws like, yeah, black people and whatnot, or like can't do this, that, and the other. They can't go here and stuff and all that. But due to how they did the redlining, and they cornered off like
it was a racist practice.
Exactly, because they knew what they was doing. Like they knew, like, yeah, we're gonna make this like over here for like the white people, basically over here for the ghettos 100%. And stuff and all that. And that, like I said, it's not blatant like black and white, but it's there. Like you got that. Like,
but to your point, that's also because the people in those positions in the banks. And I guess also the people who lived in these neighborhoods that they wanted to keep pristine and white, they were the problem. It was the people that's the problem. Like the system at play was just that the banks give you loans, right? The banks give you loans. If you want a loan, you apply for one, and they give that to you. There was no, I guess, law that that said it wasn't allowed to deny people loans on just the color of their skin. We didn't have that at that point. But it was the people who were just saying, hey, man, we're not going to offer you any loans. We're not going to let you live in this neighborhood because it's going to devalue the neighborhood. And the people in this neighborhood who are white don't want to see black people around. But it's like the system itself doesn't say that, hey, man, you should not include black people in these neighborhoods. It was the people.
But you know how it does? You know how it does? Because not only are these decisions left up to, like I said, these people who could be closet racist. Obviously, they were.
For sure.
And stuff.
100%.
But also on top of that, it's the simple fact that a lot of these laws have loopholes, like left up to owner's discretion or this, that, and other, da-da-da-da. Like,
yeah.
When you have something like that, that's such a obvious fucking loophole to where, like, obviously you can pick and choose what and who you want to do stuff with.
Yeah, I see what you mean. We'd have to probably break down examples to see if they're fair to leave those loopholes, because we can talk about something like the discretion of the judge in terms of how harsh a sentence should be based on how bad they think the heart of the person
another
is.
Another type of racist thing. There's countless cases where, like, take for instance, there's like rape charges or whatever and stuff. Like, if a black kid is going up versus his white counterpart for like rape charges and stuff, like, there's countless cases of like these black kids, usually they be athletes or whatever, or kids with a future ahead of them or whatever.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, boom, like just going off word of mouth from the girl, like all of a sudden, boom, old boy got like 30 years. He catching like numbers. Like white kid, he getting 1 year, if that, like maybe probation for like 6 months in community service. Like literal cases like that. And they did the same exact crime.
There's more to that conversation, and it's not just racism, which is typically wrong with those situations.
I mean, the rapist was wrong with those situations.
Yeah.
but
like there's more to play. A lot of the time it's also money and connections. And that's also built into the racism of this society.
Exactly. The system, that's what it's a system. A system isn't going to protect what it's not built to protect.
It's not like the laws isn't what made that happen. It was the choices that America made. It was slavery. It was
who makes
continued
these
segregation.
laws though? Like I said, like they do it in a sneaky way to where it's like, what's going to be best for keeping this type of people in power, and what's going to be best to work against these type of people.
So what's the remedy for that? Just take out the laws and then start again?
The remedy for that is to amend the laws. To amend them. At the end of the day, I mean,
to remove the.
Speaking of amendments, we could talk about the 13th Amendment. How a lot of people, scary enough, don't even know that slavery is still legal. Slavery is still legal. Yes.
As in, if you commit a crime.
Yes. In case people don't know, that the 13th Amendment, in layman's terms, basically says that slavery has been abolished. Everybody is free unless you are like a felon. Unless, like, you know what I'm saying, you go to prison. Then, yes, you are a slave. They literally own you. It literally says that in the 13th Amendment. Now, tell me why the amount of people that are in prison are like, it's an alarming number of how many like arrests and how many like black men get sent to prison versus their white counterparts when our white counterparts vastly outnumber us in this country. You can't tell me, like I said, there's not systematic racism to where they still trying to get free labor that a lot of private prisons use that are funded by these major corporations like Walmart and XYZ, Like I said, you can't tell me this isn't systematic racism still to this day, trying to keep people enslaved in some form or fashion, trying to keep like a people down. You can't tell me there's too many examples, too many different things going on to where it's like, yes, this is a fucking system. This is definitely.
I agree, but I just don't know how much. Like it's interesting. In my mind, I don't put the blame at the legislative system. I put the blame more at the people who are using the legislative system to enact racism, and that's what the system is. It's a system through racist people who have kind of just taken hold of the system that is. Because you can't find racism in the legislation. You can't find anything. Of course you can't. Because it would just you couldn't. But then you're making a good point about how there is room for, like, the legislation makes room for racism. But then with these cases, we have to go example by example, thinking about if it makes sense that this room is there. Because you look at the sentencing room or the sentencing rule about how the judge can use his own discretion or her own discretion to make a sentence more harsh because maybe he doesn't feel like the defendant is remorseful enough. That makes sense. But then if someone uses that flexibility to base it on their race instead, that's not okay. But there is, like, you know, there's so much nuance in cases that you would want, like, two people that commit the same crime, sometimes they commit it for different reasons, and there's more accidentalism, that's a word now, in the situation, and there's more remorse over the situation as opposed to a person that doesn't feel any guilt whatsoever, and you want him to serve or her to serve more time, because the whole point of prison, which obviously they don't do very well, is rehabilitation. So if you can sense remorse already in a criminal, then they're already halfway to becoming a normal citizen again.
Well, then now we're getting deeper inside something else, because even at that core, I feel like these prisons are simply just, like I said, plantations. At the end of the day, they're modern day plantations, because you can't tell me that, like, these people are getting rehabilitated properly. Like, that is another conversation. Exactly. I'm about to say, like,
we're moving out of BLM. Okay. So I mean, we can leave that open ended. I guess where we came apart was I was thinking that maybe defunding the cops kind of makes sense to me, but also at the same time, I feel like police departments need more funding, and I think it makes more sense not to rip the whole system down, but to really target on the bad things in the system and to turn up the penalty for doing shitty things, and to turn up the psychological tests for these cops to make sure that we don't have shit people in in these blue uniforms, and you, what were you saying more so? You were saying that we need to remove the cops. You think?
I think that they just need to redo a whole new system. I mean, if the shit, you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This shit been broke for a long ass time, so it's time to fucking fix it. Like,
right. You want to create a new police force? Would you call it something else?
Sure, why not? We rename it something else too. Shit,
What are you
like,
huh? What are you calling it?
I'm calling it,
The Boys.
No,
hey man, call the boys on this motherfucker.
Because that'd be sexist. Can't call it the boys, that'd be sexist.
But that sounds good. The Boys and Girls, they don't sound dangerous anymore.
Nah, you gotta call it some shit like civil security. Civil security, man. I don't know. That's some shit.
I'ma call civil security on you, motherfucker. It's too many goddamn syllables to say that phrase. I'ma call civil security.
You gotta call it something or whatever.
Civil security at your service. What seems to be the problem?
I commend some white people for taking that hard step of literally cutting off some family. Like,
right.
Because they're waking up and realizing, damn, I didn't realize my uncle, my grandparents, sometimes my parents are racist. Like, they're sitting up here like, you know, crying and stuff and like just like really in shock. They're like, wow, I just heard my parents justify these black people getting killed.
On TikTok, those videos are highly cringe. But at the same time, I support like where their hearts are coming from.
Exactly, because it's like,
very fucking.
And I know, like I said, like it must suck to look at people who raised you or people who've been so sweet to you and see how they treat a whole nother race just based off their skin or based off. See, oh yeah, they deserve. They're animals. Yeah, they deserve it. Like. I understand that's hard or whatever and all this. So I commend is like you taking that big step of like, no, like I said, toward the future we moving towards, like, that's not cool. I can't fuck with you.
Yeah. Which is, you know what? I mean, that's kind of evidence that the next generations are moving in
a positive direction
when it comes to racism. You have racist households who are birthing children who can't stand racism.
Because, I mean, like I said, like this...
So as long as it's not happening vice versa, and there's no households like, we're not racist, and the kids are like, nah, fuck that. I'm trying to hate some black people. Then we're moving in a positive direction.
Damn it, Mom, you won't let me go to the KKK rally.
Right. Fuck Margaret. They don't even call her mom no more. They're on a first name fucking basis.
Fuck you, Susan. I'm going to the rally.
But yeah, so as long as that doesn't happen, then we're moving in a good direction. Were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it's because, you know, it's...
Is racism small dick energy? That's my question.
Racism is small dick energy. Racism is small dick energy, okay? At its core. Why are people racist? Why are people racist?
Because they have small dicks.
No, it's not because they have small dicks. First of all,
so what do we say?
That's
not why.
Small dick energy and having a small dick is two different things. Big dick energy and having a big dick is two different things.
Explain that for our viewers.
For our viewers, Professor Charlie will let you know.
Okay.
Big dick energy.
Yeah.
And small dick energy has to do all with how you carry yourself, how you think, how you move, how you act, how you go about life. That is small dick and big dick energy. That has nothing to do.
Can you act out small dick and big dick energy? Can we do like a run through?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna call you on the phone. All right.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Bring, 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 bring. You have to pick up. Bring, bring, bring.
Hello.
Hey, dude. What's up? How you doing? You alright?
Are you black?
Am I black?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm. Yeah.
You're a nigger. Small dick energy.
That didn't feel like small dick.
Small dick energy.
Hey man, you were very confident with the way you said that shit. I didn't feel SDE. I felt maybe M to B D. You know what I mean? I felt M to L.
Shut up. No, it's
way
small
confident.
But we get you get what I'm saying though. Like I said, small dick energy and big dick energy, like it's associated, of course, in society or looked at as like, oh, okay, like when you got a big dick or whatever, like you're the man or whatever and stuff.
You don't have insecurities.
When you don't have insecurities, women like want you because you're so confident in yourself and this, that, and the other, da. Like, so that's how you need to go about in how you move in society, including your outlook and perspective upon like equality for races.
Right.
So yes, like I was saying, like being racist, thinking about things like that, that's small dick energy. Also being, I don't give a fuck with nobody saying like homophobia, small dick energy, things like that. Like I said, it's all about how you move and your security in yourself.
Well, homophobia, I don't think that's small dick energy. I think people that are homophobic often just don't. It's a combination. They don't understand gay people, and they're just grossed out by homosexuality in general.
If you grossed out by what somebody else does with their body, like if you literally are like, oh, I don't fuck, because you can be straight and just say that's not for me, this, that, and the other, but what the fuck does that have to do with me? Like what somebody else do with their fucking booty hole and dick or whatever has nothing to do with me?
Yeah.
Like, so why the fuck do I need to hate gay people?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's small dick energy.
I still wouldn't say it's small dick energy. Because small dick energy is when you have insecurities that you can't control. And I see why racism can be marketed as small dick energy. Because, like, sometimes you have people that are just so intimidated by black people or by different races or intimidated by losing the whiteness in their community that they exhibit racism. But with homophobia, a lot of the time it's not really a fear or an insecurity. Sometimes it's an insecurity in themselves, because sometimes they feel like they might, I don't know, they don't want to acknowledge the possibility that they could be homosexual, basically. I think sometimes there's that, but I've for sure known people. I know people very well who have been and maybe are slightly homophobic now, who it's just really a lack of understanding. Like, I don't understand you, and also I'm grossed by the thought of what you do, which is fine. It's fine. If you're grossed out by the thought of what other people do, that just means it's not for you. But you need to be able to compartmentalize that. And
but that's what I'm saying.
Not exhibit prejudice or discriminatory attitudes to these types of people because they're okay with it.
That's the point that I'm saying. That's why I just said it's like, yo, like if it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, it's not for me. Okay, cool. Like, I don't need to treat anybody else any type of way just because of their sexual orientation.
Right. It's like, hey, I don't fucking like strawberries, right? Oh, you like strawberries? Fuck you, you like strawberries. Like, it doesn't make any
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think that would be small dick energy. I think that's just dumb. Like, flat out just dumb.
The logic of racism is flat out dumb.
But I yeah, for sure. But I think small dick energy can be, like, it can be an insecure. You can be racist because you're insecure. But yeah, sometimes I'm going in circles. But sometimes
you keep coming back to my answer though. Like,
okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna
just fucking die.
I'm gonna lay it out. Okay?
Just fucking
I'm
die.
I'm gonna put it down.
Give me my point, bitch.
I'm gonna put it down. Bro.
Let me have my point.
Dude, I'm gonna put it down. Check this out.
God, you will argue for the devil in front of God. I promise you.
Yeah, dude. What's up?
God.
This is my point. Okay. I think that racism, and this is just my opinion, I can't prove it because I'm not racist, right? But I think maybe even a little bit. I'm heightist?
Yes.
It's not the same thing. I'm not heightist. I love short people, dude.
You're heightist.
Dude, I love short people.
Heightist.
Without you guys, couldn't make half my jokes. I have about this many short jokes. Okay, so I
knew you was going with a short joke there.
How did you know?
I knew.
As
soon as you said I couldn't make half my jokes.
Yeah, I was turning the fucking wheels to make a short joke, and that one was just That one was low key fucking too obvious. Anyway, racism. I think maybe a little bit more of half of racists have insecurities. They have insecurities about black people, about maybe Asian people, Mexican people, whatever have you, whatever they're racist towards. I think when you're talking about homophobic people, maybe 30% of them have insecurities about maybe because they're not sure whether they have gayness in them and they just don't want to acknowledge the possibility of that. But I think 70% of them are just fucking assholes. Like, they're just not thinking right. They're just dumb. Not dumb overall, but dumb in that regard. Like, you're not thinking it through. These people are just, they have their own sexual preferences just like you do. Did you come out of your mother's fucking vag just like, yeah, I'm gonna choose. Yeah, you know what, girls. No one did that ever. You didn't go, yeah, girls. You didn't do that. So what makes you think that homosexual people had any choice in their sexual preference? It's just sexuality is such an experience.
That's what we differ.
What do you think? You think they chose? You think they were like boys?
Well, I've always had the feeling that people choose that, but then also the way I learned, even through college and stuff, was that sexuality is a learned trait. I don't think there's nothing wrong with how people choose to be or whatever, but what do
you mean by learned trait? Expand on that.
I think that sexuality, my personal opinion, is something that is due to not only circumstance, but like your environment, like different things going on up in your life from birth.
Okay, I'm with you there. I think there are some genetic factors which have been mostly agreed upon as far as research goes for male sexuality or male homosexualty, not so much female homosexuality. And I've always thought that there might be more of a choice, not more of a choice, but more of an environmental factor when you're talking about female sexuality. I've always thought that maybe some of them just kind of get sick of how they're treated by men. And they're like, I want to try women instead because fuck men. You know what I mean? I've always kind of had that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, the point is, I do agree with you that I think a lot of our sexuality is decided environmentally, but do you think that it's psychologically chosen in any degree? Or do you think it's just like the way your life pans out dictates how your preference, your sexual preference?
Yeah, I mean, that's just my personal opinion, though. I mean, like I said...
But like, the experience of sexuality is so visceral and it's so out of your control. When you see a good-looking girl that you think is attractive, I might not think she's attractive, and vice versa. Or when a girl sees me and she thinks I'm attractive, and she definitely doesn't think you're attractive, right? That happens.
I wouldn't say definitely. That never happens.
Happens every single time.
Happens.
She can't control the fact that she's looking at me and feels what she feels. She can't control the fact that she's looking at you
and wants to suck my dick.
No, that's not what
I was just about to say.
I wasn't going to say that, though. Do you want to hear what I was going to say? She doesn't feel those things. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Because she feels my dick.
Are you raping her? What's going on? If she doesn't feel it?
In or around her mouth. She wants me. She wants my dick in or around her mouth.
In or and around. That's
and or around her mouth. Yes.
That's madness.
You know what time it is?
What's the name of the segment?
The name of the segment is Charming Charlie's Tips, a.k.a.
CCT.
Charlie Tip Me. Oh, Charlie, that really worked.
We're going to make that a soundtrack.
Oh!
We're going to make that a soundtrack. We're going to put it in the back. It's okay.
Really worked. Charlie Tip Me. Oh, Charlie, that... We are introducing a new segment where I talk about dating and sex, basically, sexual health, sexual things of that nature.
Dude, how much of a child am I? I'm doing this. I'm doing it.
This guy.
I'm a child.
This guy.
I am 15 years old.
We're going to talk about the sixth position for this episode in Charming Charlie's Tips. It's called the flat iron, also known as the downward dog or the belly flop.
I like this one.
Yes.
I'm actually a fan of this position. I call it the dead doggy. That because it's like doggy style, but she's also playing dead. Go ahead.
Boom. Exactly. So, the benefits of this position...
No, describe it first. Like, what does it look like?
Okay, so the people don't know?
Yeah.
So, basically...
So, what's she doing?
So, your partner is on her stomach or on his stomach, however you want to get down.
Oh, yeah.
And they have their hips slightly raised.
Wow.
Just a little bit.
Wow. Okay.
You know, and, you just insert right there, get behind it.
Right.
And just do your do, you know.
Doo-doo? Who's doo-dooing?
Anyways, your partner lies face down on the bed, knees slightly bent, hips slightly raised for comfort.
Freaky than I thought.
And to increase the angle of their hips, they can place a pillow under their lower abs. You can enter them from behind and keep your weight off their body by propping yourself up with your arms. This position creates a snug fit, making you feel larger to your partner. The benefits of this position is it intensifies vaginal pleasure.
Right.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is for her.
I mean, like I said, I don't know if it'll intensify anal pleasure like for male on male, but it'll intensify vaginal
equal
pleasure.
opportunity, man. That's what we're doing.
You know.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how coy are we gonna talk about this? Are we just gonna be filthy on this podcast?
I mean, right now we're in my segment. We're in Charming Charlie's.
So
tips.
what like level of PG should we be going? Should we be is this PG
I don't
R-rated?
give a motherfuck. Me personally, I don't give a motherfuck.
Okay, so yeah, it seems like we can achieve more deepness with such a position as flat iron.
Yes.
Are we calling it flat iron? I'd prefer dead doggy for sure.
I don't like dead. I don't like the word dead in a sex position. But that's you. Go ahead. You do you, homie. You know, I'd rather call it something like downward dog or belly flop or something. Or
downward dog would be like the yoga position, and that'd be like bent. Belly flopper, that doesn't sound sexy. But dead doggy for sure doesn't sound sexy.
downward dog. I like downward dog.
But downward dog is like when you do that, isn't it? It's when you get like in a bent position.
Yeah, that's how the flat iron is slightly. It's not as up. What you're thinking of is that legendary face down, ass up, where like that arch is way up there.
Yeah, that would be downward dog.
The flat iron, which is a great position by the way, also.
Okay.
But like the flat iron or the downward dog is to where like it's like if you tell a dog down, what do? They do
that.
They get down, yeah. No.
Oh, they go all the way down?
If you tell a dog down, yes.
Sit. I'm
sit is sit. Yeah, like the fuck is you?
Just breeze past it.
Yeah, they get down or whatever and all that. Like they put their head down or whatever and stuff and all that. And this. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like down dog.
Downward dog, yeah,
downward dog, yeah. Why am I fighting it?
Great position.
Right.
You guys try with your partner next time you guys are getting frisky. Make sure, of course, you're using protection if you want to use protection. Make sure.
Yeah, there's something classy about that position. I'm fucking serious though. Like doggy style is like animalistic, but like something about the what we call it again? Downward dog.
Downward dog.
Something about the downward dog is a bit more classy, and you can also like let's get graphic. You can also push her legs together, which I'm sure make a better experience for her, and also make a more immersive experience. I'm going to use for the guy, for him.
Yes.
You're like a guru. Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, I need to get close to the mic. But yeah.
But that is this episode's segment of Charming Charlie's Tips, aka Charlie Tip Me. Oh, CCT. Charlie, that really worked.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a soundtrack with that. And it's not gonna be flattering. It's fine.
So thank you again, you guys. Welcome to this new environment we got going on for the Knobheads podcast. We're gonna try this out, see how you guys like it, see how we feel about it and everything. Once again, subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button. And
hit that like button. We appreciate that shit.
Appreciate it.
And
Comments
if you have any
too.
comments on what we talked about the BLM movement. We talked about what to do about these cops. We talked about some sex tips.
Yes,
if you have any
sir.
comments, any questions, please leave them down below. We'll go ahead and take a look.
Exactly. You guys have been great. Thank you for listening to us. Once again, we are your hosts of the Knobheads. I am Charlie Miller.
David Ekunno.
And we out.
Fire. Yeah, like a goddamn dragon. I don't wanna fit your quit asking unless you spit fire. I was down bad, cash lacking till I re-up off the back end, cause I got fire. Any crash dummy try jacking, leave a nigga stiff from the ratchet, cause it's spit fire. Take a nigga bitch, what happened? Make a movie with her like action, no pussy.